Привет, друзья! Как дела? My name is Fedor, and today you will learn the difference between СВОЙ and МОЙ. When do we use СВОЙ, when do we use МОЙ, and what's their differences? Before we get there, guys, join our 30-day speaking challenge if you want to improve your speaking, if you want to learn how to speak better and understand Russian better when it's spoken to you. Join us with the first link in the description because we are starting very soon. You don't have that much time to be thinking about. We're starting on September 14th, so join us today and improve your speaking by a whole bunch. Alright, so now let's get into СВОЙ and МОЙ and talk about them and talk what their differences are and what their similarities are as well. First, let's start with СВОЙ and explain what's the purpose of it, because МОЙ is kind of easier to understand. So, СВОЙ. СВОЙ is a possessive pronoun, which means his, hers, theirs, mine, etc. So the meaning of СВОЙ will be different depending on context. And it will depend on the subject of the sentence. So for example, if I say Я люблю свой дом, I love my house. Because the subject here is я, the meaning of свой will be mine or my. So СВОЙ will point back at a subject and talk about subject's possession. Now, if we change it up just slightly and say ты любишь свой дом, you love your house, the only thing we have changed here was we changed я into ты, and then of course the conjugation, but that's, kind of a default situation. So we only have truly changed I to you in the subject, and the meaning of свой has changed as well. Now it's no longer I love my house, it's you love your house. So as you can see, the meaning of свой has changed from mine to yours because the subject has changed. So the meaning of свой will 100% depend on the subject. Whatever the subject is, that's whose possession is going to show. Once again, свой can take on meanings of mine, yours, his, hers, etc. And the question is, why don't we just use the words like мой for mine, твой for yours, наш for ours, ваш for yours plural, ее for hers, его for his or its, and их for theirs? Why don't we just use these words to replace СВОЙ? Why do we have to have СВОЙ? СВОЙ is used when the subject is the same as the person's possession. So it's kind of like pointing back at a subject. I think the reason why we use it is because it's simply more concise. It's simply much easier to understand the sentence, right? Because it's just, I don't know, it's just, I think it brings more clarity to the sentence. And the question is, when do we use these? And when do we use СВОЙ? Well, we have to use СВОЙ. We have to. It's a rule. When the subject is the same as the person's possession. So if the subject is you and you're talking about your possession, we have to use СВОЙ. So for example, if I say Я люблю свой дом, I'm talking about I love my house, I cannot use Я люблю мой дом. You see, to mean I love my house, because the subject is I and mine is pointing to me as well. I cannot use mine in this situation. Sometimes we do, but it's going to be very kind of unnatural and not authentic. It's going to sound a little bit off. So technically it does make sense because by themselves the words make sense, but that's not how native would say it. Okay, so we have to replace, in this case, мой with СВОЙ. Same is going to be, let's say, with они любят свой дом. They love their house. We cannot say они любят их дом. Okay, they love their house. It's not going to make complete sense. Okay, so we have to use свой here because the subject, they, and whoever owns the house is they as well. So it's the same thing. So we have to use свой here. For any other examples or situations, we can use this list right here. Мой, твой, etc. When the person who is owning something and the subject are different. Like, she loves your house. I love his house. They love our house. Things like that. When they and our, so when they is a subject and it's our house, they don't own the house. That's when we use these things right here. For example, we can say они любят наш дом. They love our house. Now it's a perfect match because the subject and whoever owns the house aren't the same people. Okay? Another example can be ты любишь его дом. You love his house. So now it's a perfect match because you and he are not the same people. You love, but it's his house. So it's a mismatch of people. That's when we use all these regular possessive pronouns. And СВОЙ is used whenever the subject is the same as the person who owns the thing. I hope now it's making sense. I hope it's so one big circle. It came in full circle now. And guys, if it didn't, please ask your questions in the comments. And of course, I'll be waiting for you all over at the 30-day speaking challenge where you will improve your speaking.